ज्ञानतिप्रान्त्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण। So welcome back to the Bhakti Shastri series on the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. We have been discussing the second wave of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. In the last class, after we discussed, there is some problem. System has hanged. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
The system got hanged, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the last class, last few classes, we have been discussing the sadhana bhakti, that is the second way. We saw the definition of sadhana bhakti, then we saw the references or the scriptural quotations for sadhana bhakti. Then we saw Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti has these two divisions, Vaidhi and Raganuga, and specifically we saw Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And after seeing the definition of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we saw the references or the scriptural proof for it, for Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Then who has adhikar to practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti? There is the Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. And we saw the terminologies also in that. Then there are some mixed purification of mixed devotees. That was a topic, if you remember, we had discussed in the last classes. Purification of mixed devotees. Yes, qualification for practicing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. There is the purification of the mixed devotees. We saw this also. Then after this, how whether those who are Kanishta, Uttama and Madhyama, or those from Mish Bhakti who take up to Shuddha Bhakti by the mercy of Bhagavad Kripa or his pure devotees, how the devotee should reject the desire for bhakti and mukti. Because our definition of pure devotional service itself is Anya Bilashita Shunyam. So an entire theme of how rejection of the desire for bhakti and mukti is what Rupa Goswami is speaking. And we saw this famous verse, Bhukti Mukti Spruha Yavat Pishachi Riddhi Vartate. Tavat Bhakti Sukasyatra Katam Abhidayo Bhavet. And we saw that there are two categories, that in the perfected devotees, there is no desire for bhakti and mukti. And those who are devotees who are absorbed in the service of the Lord should never desire liberation. For the first category, there is one reference from the Shastra, that is the 25th chapter of 3rd canto. For the second, those who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the Lord, there are many, many evidences, and we saw only 1 and 2 evidences. And I have given an exercise. I've shared a soft copy of a Word file where devotees should regularly recite these verses. So this is that devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the Lord should never desire liberation. So these desires are deep rooted in our heart. But as we practice sadhana bhakti and go towards sadhya, these in the form of anarthas, we see them as anarthas. And this series, how pure devotees also don't desire liberation, these verses are very, very important for us. That was a discussion what we had in the last class. Now the next theme is gradations in Mukti Spruha. Now, Rupa Goswami in general has mentioned that devotees don't desire liberation. But there are also higher gradations in liberation. So that is the theme what Rupa Goswami is going to speak, and let us see what Rupa Goswami has to say in the Bhakti Rasamrita book. This is now we are going to take the next verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita book. After discussing that those who are perfected devotees also, they don't desire liberation. We saw many, many references, but we only went through only 1 or 2 references, if you remember. So now let us see the gradations in Mukti Spruha. Now, somehow by mistake, this verse number should be 55. I don't know why it has come. This is 34. After that, there are many other verses which are not in the slides here, but they are in the word file. But after all, giving the references for how those who are absorbed in the service of the Lord don't desire liberation, then the gradations of the Spruha is what Goswami is going to discuss, which we will discuss now. Atra tyajate mukta mukti pancha vidapi chet salokadis tatapyatra bhaktyana ati virudyate. Though the 5 types of mukti, api chet mukti panchavida, there are 5 types of liberation, we all know, have been described, ukta, as worthy of rejection. Atra jajanta eva. So they have been described as worthy of rejection. So where it has been described as worthy of rejection, where Rupa Goswami has described them as worthy of rejection, anyone would like to answer can raise their hands. Where he has described that they are worthy of rejection. Anyone? Anyone in the audience? Where it is mentioned that they are worthy of rejection. Where has Rupa Goswami mentioned it? I hope the question is clear. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a very, very systematic book. What is spoken previously, the thought flow continues ahead. Very systematically and thematically, the topics are there. So it has been described in many, many references which he gave for devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the Lord. They don't desire liberation at all. So that is where it is mentioned. So I am once again sharing you the word file so that you have, I don't know how many of you have gone through this word file also. How many of you have gone through it, which I have shared in the group? How many of you have gone through it? Raise your hands. How many of you have gone through this word file? Okay, none of you. See, yeah, I know that. So desires for enjoyment and liberation are not at all present in perfect devotee. There is one reference Rupa Goswami gives. This is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-24. And devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the lotus feet of Him should never desire liberation. This category we fall in. So he starts quoting from the third canto, then from the fourth canto, then from the fifth canto, like that, sixth canto, seventh canto, eighth canto, ninth canto, then 10th canto. Then again he comes back to first canto. He gives other references from the Padma Puran, Varam Deva Moksham. We saw that. And then he quotes Naraja Pancharatra, and then again sixth canto. Then he quotes the first canto Kunti Maharani's prayers, then again another first canto verse. So this is up till 1-54 Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So almost 29 references of verses, how devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the Lord should never desire liberation. So these desires of liberation, sadhakas should not desire. Now further the gradations in mukti, although these 5 types of mukti, api cheta mukti panchvida, have been described as worthy of rejection, tat atra tyajata eva Salokya, Shashti, Samipya, and Sarupya. Shalok Adis Tatapi Tatatra are not so contradictory to Bhakti. Bhaktya na ati viruddhate. So which is contrary to Bhakti among the 5 types of liberation? Which kind of liberation is contrary to Bhakti? Anyone can raise their hand and tell? Which is contrary to Bhakti among the 5 types of liberation? Which one is contrary to devotion among the 5 types of liberation? Which one is very, very contradictory to devotion, bhakti, among the 5 types of liberation? Anyone? Yes, it is Sahayuj. Sayuj is, merging in the Lord's body or merging in the Lord's effulgence. That is completely kevala narakayate. It is hellish. It is considered as hellish. But among these five, 4, that is Salok, Salok Adis, Salokya, Shashti, Samipya, and Sarupya. Salokya is living in the same planet as the Lord. Shashti is having the same opulence like the Lord. Samipyans being near to the Lord, and Sarupyas having the same bodily features like the Lord. These are not so contrary to bhakti. These are not contradictory. This is the point which Rupa Goswami is making in this next verse. Now let us see what Jiva Goswami has to say about it. Though these 4 are not extremely contradictory to bhakti, they are contrary to a small degree, since they are accomplished with some unfavorable attitude. So they are not extremely contradictory, as the verse is also saying, because it is saying, Na ati viruddhate. Na ati viruddhate means it is not ati viruddha, but there is some viruddha. That does mean. So to a small degree, there is unfavorable attitude. What is that? If a devotee has a desire for these 4, independent of the desire to please the Lord, then the bhakti is no longer anyabhilashita shuddha. if you have a desire that I want to also stay in Vaikuntha along with the Lord, that is favorable because Salokya, that is it is favorable. That kind of a liberation is favorable. But if it is independent of the desire to please the Lord, then that bhakti is no longer anya vilashita shunya. Doesn't fit in the category of uttama bhakti definition. So now, among these two, let us see what is. One second. Okay, nothing is there. Next verse. Again, have changed the number. Sorry. Now, what is further Rupa Goswami going to say in the next verse? Let us see. Sukh Aishwaryottara Sevam Prema Sevottare Tapi Salokadir Vidhatatra Nadya Seva Jushammata. There are two varieties in these four types of liberation. Among the five, the fifth one is, there is no question because it is completely contradictory to bhakti. That is Sayujya, merging in the Lord's existence. The four are not so contradictory, but there is some contradiction. They are contrary to a small degree. If there is independent desire not to please the Lord, if it doesn't fit in the Anya Bilashita Shunyam category. Now, within this four, there are two varieties. There are two varieties in these four types of liberation. Salo, Kadir, Dvida. Dvida means two varieties. Now, one predominated by the desire for happiness and power. Sukha, Aishwarya, Uttara. So, in one, I want to serve the Lord of Vaikuntha, and I also want to be with Narayan and enjoy the opulence along with Narayan. So there is a happiness in, there is a desire for happiness of being in Vaikuntha, and there is a happiness of sharing the opulence along with Narayan, Sukha and Aishwarya. And the other predominated by the desire for Prema. Prema Seva Uttareti. So among these four types of liberation, one is Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and other is Prema Seva Uttara. That is, no, whatever it is, I just desire service of Narayan. That's it, nothing else. There is no desire for being in the same planet as Narayan or sharing the same opulence as Narayan. So there are these two categories, Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and Prema Seva Uttara. I hope it is clear. The first variety is not accepted. Tatra na adya mata, by those who are inclined to serve the Lord. Seva Jusham. So those who are inclined to serve the Lord, they are not inclined for this Sukha Aishwarya Uttara. They just want service. Like, just to give a simple example, this is lofty, especially about these liberations which are favorable to devotional service, that is being in the planet of the Lord. Just like, you are having certain qualification to perform some devotional service. Like, take an example that you are good in accounting, you are a chartered accountant, and you have that skill and you can use it fully in Krishna's service. So the temple or the temple authority or the temple management or your spiritual master says that please do this service for this temple, Radha Govind or Radha Sham Sundar. You say, yes, I will do this service, but I need this facility. If I have this facility, then I'm ready to do this service. So this is one level it can be. Another level is no, I'm not concerned about anything. I'm just concerned with service. And whatever, whether there is facility, no facility, I will just execute my service. So that is like a slight difference between Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and Prema Seva Uttara. So let us see what Jiva Goswami has to say in his commentary about it. Here, the author explains the word Ati in Ati Viruddhate of the previous verse. So he had mentioned that it is Na Ati Viruddhate. So now in this verse, 56 verse, he is explaining that Ati Viruddhate. What is that Ati Viruddhate? One variety has predominant desire, Uttara, for the happiness and powers which are natural to the spiritual world. If the mystic yogis who practice Ashtanga Yoga, they can have mystic powers in this world. So what to speak of devotees who are in the Vaikuntha? Will they not have the mystic powers? So there is, predominance of happiness, the happiness of Vaikuntha, and predominance of powers, which are natural to the spiritual world. The other variety has a predominant desire for service executed by one's natural prema. So I mentioned, no, there is predominance of desire just to serve out of pure love. The devotees do not accept the first variety. So the first variety is what? Sukha Aishwarya Uttara. They don't accept this. This is understood in the previous verse quoted. Salokya Shashti Samipya Diyamanam na grananti vina mat sevanam jana. So it was mentioned, if you remember, in the previous quotations which I referred to. Let me see whether. Yes, this was the verse 28. Salokya Shashti Samipya Sarupekattam Apyuta Diyamanam na grananti vinamat sevanam janam. They do not accept living on my planet. Salokya, Shashti, powers. So Shashti refers to Aishwarya. Staying close to me, Samipya, having a similar form, Sarupya. What to speak of merging into me? Ekatvam Apyuta. When these things are offered, Diyamanam, unless it involves service to me, Vinamat Sevanam Jana. So the second character, they don't want even these 4 kinds of liberations. They're just interested in only service. So this is what are the 2 categories now. Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and Prema Seva Uttara. The first one, the devotees don't desire. The second one is second variety. This is understood from the previous word quoted. So that was the connection. If the 4 types of liberation are not accompanied by service, they are rejected. So if the Lord says, come and live in my planet, the devotee will say, tell me if there is service. No, you just come and stay in my planet and enjoy the opulence of Vaikuntha. No, I'm not interested. Tell me if there is some service. So Vinamat Sevanam Jana. So the devotees reject even staying in the planet of the Lord if there is no accompaniment of service. Because ekatva or oneness with the Lord is always without service, the devotee is always rejected. So there is bhakti, there is bhakta and bhagwan. But in the conception of ekatvam or merging in the impersonal aspect, there is no bhakti, there is no bhagwan, and there is no bhakta. So there is no question of seva. So that's why ekatvam is always rejected by the devotees. Oneness is understood to mean merging into the Lord or Brahman. That is what is oneness means. Further, higher gradation now. Rupa Goswami is speaking in the next verse. This is verse number 57 now, actually. This is 57 in the Bhakti Rasamrita. किंतु प्रेमेक माधुर्य जुषा एकांतिनो हरो नैवांगी पूर्वते जातो muktim pancha vidamapi. But the devotee is solely attached to the Lord. Kintu ekantino haro, who relish the sweetness of prema. Prema eka madhurya jusha. never accept. Na eva angi kurvate jatu. The 5 types of liberation at all. Even prema uttara. Muktim panch vidam api. So those who are attracted to the sweetness, madhurya of the Lord, and they are attached to the Lord, they don't even desire Sukha Aishwarya Mukti or Prema Seva Uttara. These previous to what was mentioned. Sorry. Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and Prema Seva Uttara. So among these, the first category, Sukha Aishwarya Uttara, is rejected by the pure devotees, and Prema Uttara because there is service. But even those who are solely attached to the Lord, who are absorbed in the sweetness, the madhurya of the Lord, they even reject this what? The Prema Seva Uttara. So this is a higher gradation in liberation. So this is what this verse is speaking. Now it requires some explanation. Let us see. Those who are pure devotees do not even accept Prema Uttara Mukti mentioned in the previous verse. By the words Uttara, predominance, a little desire for Sukha and Aishwarya is indicated in that Prema Seva. So there is a term called as Uttara. Uttara means predominance. The predominance is Prema, but there is also a little desire for Sukha and Aishwarya. However, the devotees do not desire that portion, and therefore they reject Prema Seva Uttara Mukti. The first stage of service takes the form of sadhana. By that, one attains the second stage of service. This is called Siddharup, or perfected stage of service. So in the sadhana stage, these anarthas are there, the desire for mukti and mukti. But as one attains siddha, perfection, then he doesn't even desire happiness in Vaikuntha. He desires only service to the Lord. But within that service also there is a tinge of happiness and opulence. But even these siddhas, the perfect stages, they even reject this prema seva uttara mukti. They reject that. For the pure devotees, those 4 types of liberation are achieved as secondary items by service. Pratitam mat sevaya, as stated in verses such as the following. So the 4 pure devotees also attain liberation, there's no doubt, but it is achieved as a secondary item by service. And the Lord himself speaks to Amrish Maharaj, actually to Durvas Muni here. Mat sevaya pratitam te salokadi chatushtayam nechanti sevaya purna kuto nyat kala viluktam. The devotees do not desire the happiness and powers attained through the 4 types of liberation at all. Mat sevaya pratitam te salokadi chatushtayam nechanti. Nechanti means they don't desire. That is the meaning in verse 38. This is verse 38. They are satisfied completely, having attained the highest bliss of serving the Lord directly. Purna Sevaya. Actually, service depends on being on the same planet, etc. So those items are accepted as part of pure prema. Means if you want to serve the Lord, the Brajbasis stay in Vrindavan. So they are staying in the Lord's abode, but they are completely impelled by service. And service means you have to execute in that planet. So it is part of that prema, and it is not separately endeavored for. There is no tinge of staying in heaven. Staying in Golok only. Wherever Swarga api, Narga api, api tulya darshana. So that is the purity of these pure devotees. If they do not desire those types of liberation, how much more they dislike the temporary rewards of the material world, kala viluptam, which are destroyed by time. How could they desire such things? If they don't even desire the 4 types of liberation, which are favorable for devotional service, then what to speak of the material boons like going to Swarga or the siddhis in this material world, which are ultimately destroyed by Kala. So that is the point. Now, Srila Prabhupada on this in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu summary study on Mukti Spuha. The other four liberations, although not desired by devotees, still are not against devotional ideals. They are not still against it. This is what how Prabhupada paraphrases Rupa Goswami's verse. Na ati viruddhate. Some of the liberated persons who have achieved these four stages of liberation may also develop affection for Krishna and be promoted to the Golok Vrindavan planet in the spiritual sky. So now he's speaking about those who have attained these four types of liberation like Salokya, Shashti, Samipya in Vaikuntha. They might also, from there, chances that you can go to the Golok Vrindavan where there is only Madhurya, sweetness. Here there is Aishwarya. There is the Aishwarya feature of the Lord and there is the Madhurya feature of the Lord. In the Aishwarya feature, there is the Lord of Vaikuntha, Narayan, filled with opulences. But in Vrindavan, it is pure Madhurya. Although there is Aishwarya, but the devotees are not attracted. That is the purity of Raj Bhakti. For those who are in the four liberated states, may still be going through different stages of existence. In the beginning, they may want the opulences of Krishna, but at the mature stage, the dormant love for Krishna exhibited in Vrindavan becomes prominent in their hearts. So Prabhupada is not going too much deep and technical about the Sukha Aishwarya Uttara and Prema Seva Uttara. And among the two also, the pure devotees who are attached solely to Krishna, attracted to the Madhurya feature of the Lord, they reject even Prema Seva Uttara. So that's how Prabhupada paraphrases here. As such, the pure devotees never accept liberation of Sayujya to become one with the Supreme, though sometimes they may accept as favorable the other four liberated states. So this is what Prabhupada briefly discusses. And from this discussion, we can understand that even in Mukti, there are gradations. Sarupya is completely rejected. The other four are favorable. In the other four, there is Sukha Aishwarya and Prema Seva Uttara. In Sukha Aishwarya, there is predominance of, let me be happy with the Lord of Vaikuntha in Lord of Vaikuntha Narayan with him, and let me enjoy the happiness of Vaikuntha and the opulences of Vaikuntha, like Shashti. That is rejected. Prema Seva Uttara is more favorable, but there is to some degree also there is happiness and opulence there in Prema Seva Uttara, only predominated by service. There is there. So the pure devotees even reject Prema Seva Uttara. So now Rupa Goswami comes to the theme of the Prema Bhaktas, worshippers of the Govinda are the best. So this is the theme he is going to discuss. Now, any questions you have regarding up till this? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Pavan Balkovan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Actually, you mentioned that even in Vaikuntha Loka, in these four muktis, they have desires. But in Prabhupada, in the third canto, 15th chapter, in the description of Kingdom of God, he says that in the text 14, he says that they all engage in loving devotional service of the Lord without desires of sense gratification. And he also mentioned same thing in his purport also. So
Yes,
is it little bit of contradiction?
that is what we need to understand, that bhakti, there are varieties of devotion. There is Mishra Bhakti and Shuddha Bhakti. So by practicing Mishra Bhakti, as we gave the example of, Gajendra and, Dhruva Maharaj, that is Karma Mishra Bhakti. They are practicing devotion, but there is a desire to attain opulence. Dhruva Maharaj had a desire to attain a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. He practiced and he got purified for that desire, and the Lord ultimately gave him what? Dhruva Loka. He gave him Dhruva Loka. Opulence. He attained the opulence of the Lord. At the same time, he was a liberated soul, pure soul, living in the spiritual world. So even in the inhabitants of the spiritual world, starting from Vaikuntha, based on rasa and tattva, there are gradations of devotees. There are gradations of devotees. This is what we have to understand now. In the Vaikuntha, there is only Sandrati and Dasrati. Only two rasas are there. And they are there in the Vaikuntha planet. There is no intimacy. And there is Aishwarya. The Lord is the Lord of Vaikuntha, Aishwarya. So the attraction is, the Lord is the master of the, he has Shri, Neela Shakti, Shri Shakti, all these Bhu Shaktis and all, accompanied by all these Shaktis. So how the Lord is the controller and the master of all the opulences. Aishwarya Gyan is predominant there. But in Vraj Bhakti, which is exclusively in Golok Vrindavan, practiced by the Vrajvasis, they are not attracted to the Lord of Vaikuntha who has unlimited Vaishwarya. They are attracted to beautiful Krishna, Shyam Sundar Krishna. It's not that because Krishna has Aishwarya, they are attracted to him. Krishna shows his opulence there, but still there are powers also. But nobody believes him as God. Krishna shows unlimited powers in Vrindavan also, lifting Govardhan, killing Trinavar, killing Aghasur, but nobody believes him as Krishna. Nobody believes him in God. In Aishwarya Gyan, the Bhakta knows that I am servant, Das, and he's my master, Prabhu. That knowledge is there. Aishwarya Gyan is there. He is, the Lord of Vaikuntha. But as there is sweetness, attraction, Madhurya. Madhurya here, I don't mean the Madhurya Ras. That is the conjugal love. Madhurya means attracted to sweetness. The sweetness of Vraj Krishna. So there is Madhurya Gyan about how the Lord, attraction of the heart is born out of prema for the Lord. So based on rasa, there are again higher levels. That is why beginning with Sakya Ras, then Matsalya and Madhurya, these higher rasas are there only in Golok Vrindavan. That is where Rupa Goswami is taking us now to these higher things. So to one degree, you can say, yes, that is true what Prabhupada is saying. But again, comparing with Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan, yes, there is difference. So another example to give, there are two Arjunas. One is the Arjuna of the Bhagavad Gita, who is also a friend of Krishna. He has Aishwarya Gyan, that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He has also friendship. But there is also Arjuna, who is a Gopa in Vrindavan. So there is a lot of difference. There is a lot of difference between the Arjuna of the Bhagavad Gita and the Arjuna of Goka. Both are Sakas, but both are at higher levels. The second Arjuna of Raja, he is having deeper intimacy with Krishna compared to Arjuna of the Gita. So like that, there are higher gradations. And this is what Rupa Goswami is speaking here in Bhakti Mukti Guha. Is it clear, Pavan Balgovind Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so now Why this is so? That of the Premi Bhaktas, worshippers of the Govinda best. What is the reason? Rupa Goswami now quotes this next verse. Kin. Yeah. This is text number 58 now. Tatrapi ekantinam shreshta Govinda ritamanasa Esham Shisha Prasadopi Manohartum Nashaknuyat. Among the devotees who are dedicated solely to serving the Lord in prema, Tatra api ekantinam. Ekanta bhakti is also Ananya bhakti or Uttama bhakti. The devotees whose hearts have been stolen by Govinda. Govinda Ritamanasa are the best, Shrestha. They are the best. Even the kindness of the Narayan and the other forms of Krishna, Shrisha Prasad Api, cannot steal their hearts. Esha Mano Hartum Na Shaknuyat. So the other forms of Krishna, Narayan form we know is the Lord of Aishwarya, Shri Isha. Shrisha. Shrisha means Sri Isha. The Isha of the Ishwar of the spiritual world. That is the Vaikuntha world. That is the name of Narayan. And the other forms of Krishna. Which are the other forms of Krishna? Anyone knows? Can raise the hands. Which are the other forms of Krishna? Which are the other forms of Krishna? It's very interesting. We are practicing devotional service since last 10 years. And which form of Krishna we are actually practicing bhakti, sometimes we don't know. So which are the other forms of Krishna they are not attracted to? Which are the other forms? Anyone, raise your hands. Yes, Pavanapala Govinda Prabhuji. Yes.
The other expansions of his Krishna, like Narsimha and
No. See,
are
please read the verse. It's not speaking of, I'm only of other forms of Krishna only. Krishna only it is. It's not, the form is changed as he doesn't look like Krishna. Narsimha doesn't look like Krishna. Or Vamana doesn't look like Krishna.
in such case, I think in such case, this is Dwarkadish
Yes.
is one expansion. Then wherever whatever Leelas is exhibited after leaving Vrindavan, where whichever Leela Avtaras is, I think probably they are less attractive than the Vrindavan.
Yes, here what it means is actually it is Mathura Krishna and Dwarka Krishna. So those whose hearts are stolen by Govinda. Now Govinda refers to which Krishna then? Please tell me. Raise your hands. Govinda refers to which form of Krishna? Which Krishna? If they are not attracted to Dwarka Krishna or Mathura Krishna, then Govinda refers to Vrindavan Krishna. Yes, Vraja Krishna. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajatanayas. Tadhama Vrindavan. For us, worshipable Lord is the son of Nanda Maharaj, Vrindavan. Vrindavan Krishna. That is the object of worship. So we should not be attracted to even Dwarka Krishna because Dwarka means opulence, Aishwarya. Mathura is opulence. So even in Krishna's forms, there are opulence, Aishwarya, and it is not filled with Madhurya, sweetness. The pure Madhurya sweetness is there in Krishna's pastimes of Vrindavan. So those whose hearts are attracted, who are solely serving the Lord in prema, whose hearts are stolen by Govinda. Govinda refers to again now Vraja Krishna. They cannot, they are not attracted to even Dwarka Krishna or Mathura Krishna, then what to speak of Narayan and what to speak of these other avatars. They are not attracted to it. So here, first thing, Jiva Goswami is making clarification. Govinda here refers to Krishna, the Lord of Gokul. It is Vraja Krishna. Krishnaya Go Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama. I repeatedly offer respects, Namo Nama, to Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, who gave joy to Devaki. Devaki Nandanaya Cha. Nanda means to give happiness. Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Nanda means happiness. When the child is born, the mother becomes happy. So Devaki Nandana. Nandan means happiness. Who was the child of Nanda? Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, the satisfier of the senses of the gopis, Govindaya. So Govind here refers to Vraja Krishna. The word Shrisha means the Lord, Isha of the spiritual sky, Shri, Narayan. Also includes form, Krishna in his form as the Lord of Dwarka. So it also includes all these other forms, Narayan forms, Dwarka Krishna forms. Now, a very important philosophical point in the next verse he makes. Siddhanta tastu abhedapi Shrisha Krishna Swarupayo Rasen Rasot Karshate Krishna Rupam Isha Rasa Sthiti. Though the forms of Vishnu and Krishna are non-different according to the statement of scriptures. Siddhantatas tu abhedapi Shrisha Krishna Swarupa. There is no difference between Narayan and Krishna Swarupa. There is no difference. They are not different. Krishna's form is shown to be superior because of his rasas. Rasena utkrishate Krishna Rupam. Utkrishate. Based on rasa, Siddhant wise there is no difference. There is no abheda. Bheda nahi hai. But based on rasa, Krishna's form is superior, which is endowed with the highest type of prema. The very nature of his rasa shows Krishna's form to be superior. Esha rasa sthiti. This is the, according to the position of rasa. So this is a philosophical point now Rupa Goswami makes. Now, anyone has come across the discussion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Venkata Bhatt when he was there in the 4 months Chaturmas in Sri Rangam? Anyone has come across? Raise your hands. Anyone? Raise your hands who have heard this discussion or they have read in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Only 2 devotees out of 7. So I'll just briefly summarize. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first came Sri Rangam, he had the darshan of Ranganath, and Venkata Bhatt was the pujari who got attracted to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing, and he requested, Chaturmasas begin, so sannyasis are not supposed to travel, please come and stay as a guest in my house. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately accepted, and he was honoring Prasad in Venkata Bhatt's house. Now one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began the discussion that what is the difference between. There is no difference. Then if there is no difference, then why is that your Lakshmi wanted to enter the rasa dance? This, he said, is beyond my capacity to understand this. So why did Lakshmi perform so many austerities? She is the husband of Narayan. So it is not proper for her to associate with my Lord Krishna. She's a chaste wife. So why did she want to enter the rasa dance? And she performed so many austerities on the bank of Yamuna, but yet she could not get entrance into the rasa dance. Why was Lakshmi not able to give up? Why was not Lakshmi able to enter into the rasa dance? Because she was not able to give up her Aishwarya as that I am Lakshmi. Because she serves Narayan in Vaikuntha and she enjoys the opulence of Vaikuntha. So she is Lakshmi Pati. Her husband is Lakshmi Pati. So she was not able to give her Aishwarya Bhav, although she performed so many austerities. And that's why she was not able to enter into the pure mood of the Vraj gopis. The gopi bhav she could not attain. And that's why she could not get entrance into, she could not associate with Narayan. Krishna. So although there is no difference between Krishna Swarup and Narayan Swarup, there is nothing wrong if Lakshmi, associates with Krishna. But since she could not give her Aishwarya Bhav, she could not enter into Ras Leela. So there is Siddhanta. Based on Siddhanta, there is no difference. But based on Rasa, Krishna's form is superior. So this is the point here being made. Now let us see, a very elaborate commentary of Jeev Goswami is there, but I'm summarizing only few points. The meaning of Rasena in this verse is by sweetness composed of the highest levels of prema. So attracted by prema. Rasa means highest level of prema, and highest level of prema is Madhuri prema. We know that. Utkrishate means is made eminent or is shown as supreme. This takes place because that is the nature of his rasas. Esha rasasati. That is why we are studying Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Krishna is Akhila Rasamrita Murti because all the 5 Mukhya and the 7 Gaun Rasas fully manifest only in Krishna. Akhila Rasamrita. He's the container of all these rasas. In Narayan, with Narayan, you cannot have hasya ras. You cannot do joke with Narayan. You cannot have that friendship with Narayan that you keep your hand on Narayan's shoulder and go for a walk with Narayan. But the pure sakas of Krishna, they, what to speak of putting their hand on Krishna, they jump on Krishna, they climb on Krishna. That is the intimacy. That is the kind of prema they have. So that is the intimacy of Vraj Bhakti. And this is because Esha Rasa Sthiti. Thus, the meaning should be the very nature of Krishna's rasa shows his form as superior. Now he gives some reference to this. The queens, other than the principal 8 queens who were satisfied with their relationship with Krishna, describe the supreme attractiveness of Krishna's form during the pilgrimage to Kurukshetra. Now we know during that eclipse, Krishna along with the Dwarka queens had come to Kurukshetra to see the solar eclipse. And from Braj, all the Brajvasis also wanted to had a desire to see Krishna, so they had also come. And after many, many years, the gopis saw Krishna there. But they were not happy seeing Krishna in his Aishwarya, majestic, rupa of being a king, with chariots, with soldiers, with ministers, with wearing a crown. Especially Srimati Radharani was very disturbed seeing Krishna. She wanted to see that Gop Krishna wearing peacock feather, decorated by flowers, the flowers of the forest of Vrindavan, wearing the Vaijayanti Mala. And that's why she pulled the Rath of Krishna and called him to come back to Vrindavan. That is what is the Rath Yatra. So these queens, they describe the supreme attractiveness of Krishna's form in the pilgrimage to Kurukshetra. So now the queens are speaking. O saintly women, we do not desire dominion over the earth, the sovereignty of the King of Heaven, unlimited facility for enjoyment, mystic power, the position of Brahma, immortality, or even attainment of the kingdom of God. This is very important among the 4. We simply desire to carry on our heads the glorious dust of Lord Krishna's feet, enriched by the fragrance of the kunkuma from his consort's bosom. Now, who are these consorts? They are the gopis of Vrindavan. We desire the same contact with the Supreme Lord's feet that the young woman of Vraja, the aborigine Pulinda woman near the grass, and the cowherd boys tending the cows desire the touch of the dust. So here, the Dwarka queens, they desire what? They desire also the same kind of prema what the gopis have for Vraja Krishna. So this shows that although the queens are in Madhurya Ras with Krishna in Dwarka, but that is, there is Aishwarya because he is Dwarkadish. And we know there is this, within this conjugal love, there is two things, there are two varieties, Swakiya and Parakiya, wedded love and unwedded love. And the wedded love is with the queens of Dwarka, where there is opulence, there is Aishwarya. But in unwedded love, which is Parakiya Ras, which is only exclusive in Vraj Bhakti with the gopis of Vrindavan, this is what even they desire, the Dwarka queens. The scriptures describe the desire of Lakshmi, the most famous among women, but even she was not qualified according to Kaliya's wives. So Lakshmi also, had a desire to enter the Ras Leela, but she was also not qualified. And the Kaliya queens speak one verse. O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya has attained this great opportunity of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. So she performed this vrata, but she could not attain Vraja Krishna because she could not give her Aishwarya Bhav of being Lakshmi Devi. Uddhava has also said the same thing. The goddess of fortune herself, along with Lord Brahma and all the other demigods who are masters of yogic perfection, can worship the lotus feet of Krishna only within her mind. But during the rasa dance, Lord Krishna placed his foot upon these gopis' breast, and by embracing those feet, the gopis gave up all distress. So what favor the Lord does by performing the Ras Leela with the gopis, that kind of fortune is not even attained by the goddess of fortune, that is Lakshmi Devi. Therefore, it is proper to say that the devotees, including the gopis, whose hearts are stolen by Govinda in Vraja, very important now, are the best. And that Krishna is the best. He is the best form among all. By mentioning that the form of Krishna is outstanding, his beauty also is indicated. Though this is a topic for the Siddha devotees, it is hoped that others will become like-minded. Thus, it has been explained here. So we are still not becoming free from the attractions of this world. What to speak about these different rasas, being not attracted to Dwarka Krishna and Mathura Krishna and exclusive to Vraj Krishna. So these are all elevated topics, but still hearing them, oh, let me also follow in their footsteps of the gopis, because that is the ideal for us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told, Ramya Kachita Upasana Rajavadu Vargena Kalpita. The worship, how we should perform, following in the footsteps of the Vraj gopis. That is the devotion we should follow. Now, Srila Prabhupada on this topic. Now, before Srila Prabhupada on this topic, any questions about this verse which we discussed? Anyone has any questions about it? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Vaishali Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Prana. Prabhu, it is said, right, that each jiva has a swarupa already.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a swarupa for each jiva, which is already there either in Vaikunta or Goloka Vrindavan. So since it is already been there, then how we say that, oh, we have to do only Krishna? Maybe some jiva has a swarupa in Vaikunta, so he is attracted to that. Is it like this?
Yes, it is not like this. This is what many devotees have an understanding. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Kapu Sadhanai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Koraya Uday. Or we had seen the definition of sadhana bhakti. Kriti sadhyat bhave sadhya sa sadhana vidha nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. So nitya siddha bhava, that love for Krishna is innate in the heart. The swarupa of the soul in a generic sense, is that the soul is the servant of the Lord. Jivara Sarupa Krishna Ramita Das. That is the generic sense. Now, the rasa, whether it is Vaikuntha or Golok, it can be cultivated here. It can be cultivated here in coming in contact with the pure devotees. Now, I'll give you one example for this. Now, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is one of the prominent acharyas in our Sampradaya, Gaudiya Sampradaya. In fact, he was connected to the Madhva Sampradaya. He had taken initiation from the Madhva Sampradaya and he was a Madhva Sannyasi. Being a Madhva Sannyasi, he had gone on a conquest to preach Madhva's teachings. And he happened in Jagannath Puri come in contact with the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sannyasi, Pitambar Goswami, I think. And while having discussions on Siddhanta Tattva, he was introduced to the topic of rasa, the science of rasa, and his heart was attracted. And now he wanted to study more. And he now wanted to accept Pitambar Chaitanya as a spiritual master. But Pitambar Goswami said, I don't know, I don't recollect the name, who it is. He said that already you are initiated as a sannyasi, but in order to study this, you have to study the Sandarbhas and the Bhagavatam of Jiva Goswami, Sandarbhas especially of Jiva Goswami. So you can study under Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, go to Vrindavan. So Baldev Vidyabhushan first visited Navdeep, got attracted to the Navdeep Dham. He was, got attracted to the pure Vraja Bhakti. And then from there, he went to Vrindavan, took shelter of Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, studied under him, became his Shiksha disciple. And he went into these elevated rasas, higher rasas. Because in Vaikuntha, there is, I told you, only Dasiras, but there are higher rasas also in Golok Vrindavan. So it's not that it is fixed that, I am in Dasiras in the spiritual world. So now I've come in touch with this movement, I will only attain Dasiras. No. Based on the association and Sangha, based on your inclination, the development, the higher spiritual development can happen. What to speak? Even somebody who is a Jnani and he has attained liberation and is in the Brahma Jyoti, if he comes in contact with the pure devotee, a pure devotee might go and feel compassion for him and preach him and introduce him to the science of rasa, he might get further elevated to Vaikuntha. Because, compared to, from Gaudiya perspective, liberation, that is merging, is hellish. But from Gyan perspective, that is the highest. But from Vaikuntha perspective, merging is inferior compared to residing in Vaikuntha. And from Vaikuntha, if he has association of a Vraj devotee, from Vaikuntha he can go to Golok Vrindavan. It is possible. So Brihad Bhagavatamrita is a wonderful devotional philosophical exposition, theological exposition, where Sanatana Goswami explains the journey of Gop Kumar. Gop Kumar was a simple devotee in Govardhan, and he happened to see a sadhu. He got attracted to the sadhu, and the sadhu gave him Gopal Mantra. And he had darshan of Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri. And from there, his travel started to Indralok, then to Maharlok, Janalok, Brahmalok. He was attracted to the various Aishwarya features of Lord being worshipped there. Indra was worshipping Vamandev, Brahmaji was worshipping the Sahasra Sheesh Purusha. At last, from there, he went to the Brahma Jyoti, that is called as the Mahakalok. From there, he went to Vaikunta. He met the Lord of Vaikunta. Seeing Narayan, he just ran towards Narayan, Narayan, to hug Narayan. But nobody can have that kind of intimacy where you can hug Narayan in the Vaikunta world. But he collapsed there. So there also, being in Vaikunta, he was not happy because his heart was attracted to Vraj Krishna. So from Vaikunta, he further traveled to Dwarka. Although he was attracted to Dwarkadish, but still his heart was hankering for Shyam Sundar Krishna. So at last from Dwarka, he came to Vrindavan, Gokul, and there he met the Lord of his heart. And you have seen that famous picture of Gop Kumar hugging Krishna. So like that, it is a development, and it is possible here when we are here in this material world. The development of the spiritual body and the rasa is possible with association. That is my point. I hope it is clear, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay. So there are a few points now about Prabhupada, what he has to say about this. And then we'll end the discussion for today. Say about it. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. Of the many kinds of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the one who is attracted to the original form of Lord Krishna, Krishna in Vrindavan, see, Prabhupada is very specific, is considered to be the foremost, the first class devotee. Such a devotee is never attracted to the opulences of Vaikuntha or even of Dwarka, the royal city where Krishna ruled. So they are not attracted to Dwarkadish. The conclusion of Srila Rupa Goswami is that the devotees who are attracted by the pastimes of the Lord in Gokul or Vrindavan are the topmost devotees. The devotee who is attached to a particular form of the Lord does not wish to redirect his devotion to other forms. For example, Hanuman, the devotee of Lord Ramchandra, knew that there is no difference between Lord Ramchandra and Lord Narayan, and yet he still wanted to render service only unto Lord Ramchandra. This is due to the specific attraction of a particular devotee. There are many, many forms of the Lord, but still Krishna is the original form. Though all of the devotees of the different forms of Lord are in the same category, still it is said that those who are devotees of Lord Krishna are the topmost in the list of all devotees. From Tattva point, there is no difference. But from Rasa point, there is difference. There is difference in the intimacy in Dasya, even in Gokul. Sakya, there is more intimacy. Vatsalya, there is still more intimacy. And in Madhurya, there is still more intimacy. So based on Rasa, there is gradation. From Tattva, all are devotees of the Lord. But the topmost form of the Lord is the Shyam Sundar Krishna, Vraja Krishna, and the topmost devotees are the devotees whose hearts are stolen by Govinda. That is the gopis of Vrindavan. That is the point Rupa Goswami is making here. I hope this topic is a little lofty topic, but I hope it is clear and understood by devotees. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? Okay, there is one more small theme, 2-3 slides are there. I will take and I'll wind up for today. There is no material disqualification for practice of bhakti. This is the point now he makes. We can, the topmost form is Krishna, and the topmost are the Vraj gopis. So now, this is very high qualification, but now Rupa Goswami is saying, no, there is no material disqualification for practice of bhakti, especially. Shashrata Shruyate Bhakto Nirdmatrasya Dikarita Sarvadikarita Maga Snanasya Bhruvatayata Drishantita Vashishtena Hari Bhaktir Nripam Prati. The scriptures say, Shastrata Shruyate, that any human being, Nirmatasya, is qualified for bhakti. Bhakto Adhikarita. Just as Yatha Bruvata, everyone is qualified, Sarva Adhikaritam, to take a bath during the month of Magh. Magha Snanasya. Vashishta, while speaking to the king, Vashishtena Ripam Prati has given that example. Drishtantita. Drishtanta means an example. Just like everyone is qualified to take bath in the Magh month, it's not that only Brahmanas are qualified to take bath. No, anyone who is a human being can take bath and get benefited. Similarly, anyone who is a human being is qualified to practice bhakti. So has been given that example concerning devotion to Hari Bhakti, devotion to Lord. Now, some points by Jiva Goswami. From what has been previously said, it should be concluded that those who possess faith, Jata Shraddha Mat Katado, and are devoid of desires for material enjoyment and liberation, na nirvinno nati sakto, are qualified for pure bhakti, bhakti yoga asya siddha. This is certainly applicable to the three upper caste without distinction. But what about others? What about the others? This verse says all persons are eligible. All persons are eligible. Anyone who is a human being is qualified to take up to bhakti if he comes in the association of a pure devotee. Now, just imagine Srila Prabhupada went to America. Who was qualified? Na nirvino anati sakto. No one was there. But somehow by Mahat Kripa, the great mercy of the pure devotee, they were able to take up to pure devotion. So, Narmatrasya, if anyone is just a human being, he is qualified to take up bhakti. So, what is the proof for this? Rupa Goswami gives a proof. Yata Padme. Sarva Adhikarino hi atra Hari Bhakto Yata Nrapa. In the Padma Puran, it is mentioned what? All are qualified for Hari Bhakti. Sarve Adhikarino hi atra Hari Bhakto. O king. So I think some rishis giving this teaching to the king. Another reference, second proof, Kashi Kande cha tata. That means in the Kashi Kanda from the Padma Puran. Antyaja api tad rashtre Shanka Chakrank Dharina Samprapya Vaishnavim Diksham Dikshita Iva Sambhu. In that country, Tadrashtre, even the outcast, Antajapi, receiving Vaishnava initiation, Samprapya Vaishnavim Diksham, wearing the marks of the conch and the disc, Shanka Chakra Anka Dharina, shine like sacrificial priest. Dikshita Iva Sambhu. So they are shining. So it is mentioned that, although this Kanishta, Uttama, Madhyama categories are there, anyone who is a human being, if he gets the mercy of a pure devotee, the example of Mrigari, he got the mercy of Narada Muni. What qualification he had? He was a hunter. He was the lowest among the human beings, but he was a human being, Naramatra. So everyone is one sense qualified to practice bhakti. But this is not the case for practice of Gyan or Ashtanga Yoga. To practice Karma Yoga, you should be within the Varnashram. To practice Gyan Yoga, you should be detached. You should have attained purity of heart. To practice Ashtanga Yoga also, you need to be detached and you need purity of heart. But for Bhakti Yoga, there is no qualification. Just if you are a human being, you are qualified devotion. Now, Prabhupada doesn't go into the discussion of these verses, but he explains in the context what happened during Lord Chaitanya's movement. In the Middle Ages, after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya's great associate Lord Nityanand, a class of priestly persons claimed to be the descendants of Nityanand, calling themselves as Goswami caste. This is the Nityanand Vamsha. They further claim that the practice and spreading of devotional service belonged only to their particular class, which was known as Nityanand Vamsha. Only we can spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Only we can give initiation. In this way, they exercise their artificial power for some time until Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the powerful Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, completely smashed their idea. There was a great hard struggle for some time, but it has turned out successfully, and it is now correctly and practically established that devotional service is not restricted to a particular class of men. So this is the point what Prabhupada is bringing out from those verses quoted by Rupa Goswami. Besides that, anyone who is engaged in devotional service is already in the status of being a high-class Brahmana. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's struggle for his movement has come out successful. So this is how Prabhupada speaks about this in a summary study. It is on the basis of his position that anyone can now become a Gaudiya Vaishnava from any part of the world or any part of the universe. Sarva Adhikari. Anyone who is a pure Vaishnava is situated transcendently, and therefore the highest qualification in the material world, namely to be in the mode of goodness, has already been achieved by such a person. Our Krishna consciousness movement in the Western world is based on the above mentioned proposition of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, our spiritual master. On his authority, we are claiming members from all sections of the Western countries. The so-called Brahmanas claim that one who is not born in a Brahmana family cannot receive the sacred thread and cannot become a high-grade Vaishnava. But we do not accept such a theory because it is not supported by Rupa Goswami nor by the strength of the various scriptures. Rupa Goswami doesn't support in his verses. He says Narmatasya, and he has quoted two verses that Anteja also can become Vaishnavas and they shine effulgently. So that's how Prabhupada explains in this summary study. Now, duties expected of a qualified practitioner. Who has adhikar for practicing bhakti? He has to na atisakto, na nirvinna, and jata shraddha. He has to have faith in my hearing my pastimes. Now, some other points and themes Rupa Goswami has discussed. Now, he is having qualification to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Now, what are his duties? What are his duties for one who is qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? Like somebody is qualified to enter IIT now. But after entering IIT, it's not that he gets a degree. Now he has certain duties. He has to every day attend class. He has to attend labs. He has to write the assignments. So even a Vaidhi Sadhaka, he has certain duties to perform. And now he'll come to what is the Anga of Sadhana Bhakti and the different Angas. So this is going to be a long topic which will start from tomorrow. Any questions, any clarifications up till now here? Okay then, so we'll stop here. Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Okay, one question is there. Please do ask the question. One clarification, even Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami brother had inclination towards Lord Ram and they continue to worship Lord. Even Murari Gupta, I guess, so that inclination also. I think if you can ask the question, it will be more clear, Mataji. What is your understanding becomes clear. Ask the question.
Sorry, Prabhu, actually some sound is there, so I was typing. Prabhu, we read even Sanatana Goswami brother Anupama Goswami, he was a devotee of Lord Rama and he was worshipping, and they tried to tell him that you do Krishna Bhakti, but somehow he was when he tries, but he could not, that much attachment he had to Lord Rama. And that is what they wanted to see in the pastime. So, Prabhu, when we have so much attachment to one deity or one form of the Lord, how can we reach to have that love for Krishna Bhakti?
Okay, so firstly, you have to understand two things. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are two pastimes of the two eternal associates of the Lord who are more attracted to their worship of the Lord, and they maintain that. One is Murari Gupta and another is Anupam. I think it is Anupam only. So Murari Gupta is actually Hanuman, and his worshipable Lord is Lord Ram. So although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself instructed to worship Krishna, but he could not give up the lotus feet of Lord Ram. He said, better let me give up my life rather than to give up the worship of a life. That time there is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Dhanya oi Prabhu, great is that Lord who never gives up his devotee, and great is the devotee who never gives up his Lord. Okay. So this is already one who has attained that rasa and he is situated, Dasya Ras. So one who is situated in Dasya Ras, although in a generic sense there is no difference. Somebody is in Vatsalya and Madhurya, there is no difference. And even they also know that that is superior, but still they are happy in that Dasya Ras. There is a spiritual higher satisfaction in that. Although they are not that the Gopis Madhurya is highest. Like Bhishma, Aradhya Dev is Parthasarthi. And there is a Parthasarthi planet in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha world. That is his worshipful Lord for Bhishma. And Bhishma in his prayers, if you see in the first canto, 9th chapter, he is glorifying the highest worship as the gopis who worship you. So that is the highest worship. So although he knows that that is the highest, but he is situated in his rasa with Krishna. So these eternal associates who are already situated in their rasa, they feel that is complete in itself and they are satisfied in it. This is first point to be noted. Secondly, if you see in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tree, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned, who is the trunk, and the two branches are Nityananda and Advaita, and there are many branches. So Murari Gupta is not there. So Murari Gupta branch is not there because Murari Gupta had come in the pastimes of the Lord for a specific purpose. And that's why Murari Gupta did not propagate the teachings of Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu has come to give us Vraj Bhakti. Prema Rasa Niryas Karite Aswadana Ragamagra Bhakti Karite Pracharan. The Ragamag is the spontaneous devotion practiced by the Vrajvasis towards Shyamsundar Krishna. So that's why we see Murari Gupta's branch is not there. So they are in the pastimes and they have specific reasons why the Lord also allows his other devotees to establish some Siddhanta also. So that's why the Siddhanta, now we know that Murari Gupta's branch is not there. He did not propagate pure devotional service. Why? Because his devotion is in Dasiras, but Mahaprabhu has come to give us highest rasas. So that's why the other branch, teachings are there and they have been propagated. Okay, fine. So I'll stop here. Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Hare Krishna.